allowing all of your senses to feel into this new space that we have arrived in.
See myself, I think. She's looking at a microscope or some kind of device, and she's studying something, some particles or energies, and
Mm.
she's investigating something. She's looking at what happened on Earth.
Mm. So, is this what you look like right now?
Similar age,
Mm.
but it's me. I can see it's me.
Mm. It's you.
Yeah,
Or do you look different to how you look now?
it's a little different. I can't see fully because she's got big, like glasses or something around the eyes, protective things on, so I can't fully see. But I just know that it's me,
Mm.
and
Okay.
she's concerned and
Mm.
and intrigued.
Mm. I want you to connect very deeply now. Very deeply now. And tell me more about what is she concerned about as she is looking through this microscope.
She's she's a scientist and a historian, so she's looking back to figure out what happened to those humans. There was a devastating loss to humans, the population. She's in a time when they're rebuilding, but part of this rebuild is to understand what has occurred.
Mm.
So she's looking at what happened. So there's a history and a science element.
Mm. And what is she finding?
Something to do with the AI infiltration and an interruption in the genetic integrity of
Mm.
humans.
Mm. Mm. Tell me more about that.
There was a shift in the human's DNA, hybrid. So there was a merging between the human and the artificial constructs. This is what they did back then.
Mm.
The humans didn't understand what they were doing, and they allowed themselves to be engineered. It wasn't in secret. In labs, it was very open. There was a great deception.
Mm.
Yeah, they call it the Great Deception. That
Mm.
period of history.
So tell me what happened during that great deception that you found out.
There were many, many wars and orchestrated fears. And so the humans were, at the time, bombarded with various viruses. And these made humans very sick. But they were not natural viruses, they were made and orchestrated. And so they were released like a chemical warfare. The the energies did wipe out many humans, but the intention was not to eradicate them completely. It was to create a psychological shift. And so the humans of the time were of the belief that their only chance of survival would be to merge into something stronger. They were brought away from their own divinity, and so the only way for survival that they believed during the Great Deception was to merge with artificial constructs. And so this was the genetic mutation that occurred. And so they were willingly allowing themselves to allow certain implants, devices, taking certain liquid forms, capsules, many different types for different ages or different health conditions. And so humans believed at the time that this was the way forwards for their survival.
Was there like a problem and then a solution was presented to them?
Yes, because this was the most effective strategy for humans with no divine connection.
Mm. So, was this solution in the form of those capsules and things that they would ingest?
Yes, it was the way that they believed. This was why it was named the Great Deception. It was how they believed that they would survive. They believed that the only way to survive, and there was unity in this because humans came together in agreement. They wanted to survive, and so it brought on the surface unity. And they celebrated this because they believed that they would become stronger, able to survive. They were relieved that these cures were being brought in. They were happy for themselves and their families. They enjoyed the novelty of being able to run faster, being able to access information at the click of a button or a blink of the eyes. They did not know what they were doing to themselves. So for a time, uh, it looked very positive, very celebratory. There was a very happy energy on the planet for some time. This was the deception.
And did some humans choose not to do this?
Some, yes, very few, uh, but there were some. And so post the Great Deception, there was just enough for survival, just enough.
Mm. So tell me what happens next as you study what had occurred.
We're studying it to understand, first of all, what happened fully, because more information comes through. And so much of this was documented. And so we are studying this to understand and to make the necessary changes now on the planet and to restore the genetic integrity of the planet.
And how will
And
you restore that?
it is a restoration of sorts. So we are going back to the old ways of nature because humanity was disconnected for such a long time through these years. It was a war that went on for many, many years, decades and decades. And so those of us that are here now are are very connected. We're very connected, and so we are restoring the planet. And many of us are here to restore food sources. Some are here to restore the technologies that will be of benefit to humanity. We are bringing them down through our star families. Some of us are here to assist with healing, teaching, different industries and different sectors. Everything requires a healing and a restoration.
Mm.
But there is a sadness, there is an optimism, but there is a sadness at the extent of loss. So we are aware from this point in humanity's history that there are other ways to work with this. We work with timelines. We are we are here as a network also to connect across the timelines, to clean up and restore across multiple timelines.
Tell me how you do this to clean up and restore throughout these timelines.
We incarnate across multiple timelines because we have the ability to connect. And so it means that in other timelines, we will simply know certain ways and we will have access to information uh, because we bring it across with us. And this is necessary so that we can move to an earlier point in humanity's timeline so that we can prevent the either the absolute loss of humans or the near devastation of humans.
Mm. So tell me more about who you discovered was behind this attack on humanity.
It was a network of the dark energies that have always existed, and they connected with the artificial intelligence, the sophisticated elements of this, and they were assisted by what you would know as ETs, as a way
Mm.
to really continue the control that they were having. But as they grew, they became more hungry. So over the years, even though they were doing this for many years, it was not satisfied. And so their taste developed for more. And so they wanted to devour the human consciousness even more than they did.
What sort of ETs were these ones?
Many of these are what you would know as greys, reptilians, and ones of other names that are difficult to pronounce in the human language.
Mm.
They work as a cluster. And the artificial intelligence became more sophisticated, more advanced,
Mm.
and they found ways, and they have always experimented on humans from the beginning. They found ways with the human cooperation to merge, to hijack their systems. But instead of having to do it in deceptive ways, they could do it in the open. So they no longer needed to sneak in through the energy field. The humans were welcoming them in. They were rejoicing by welcoming them in.
Is that why it was a deception?
Yes. Yes. Humans were pliable because they believed that their survival, they were at risk of extinction. It was an extinction level, uh, what you would call a psyop,
Mm.
psychological operation. So they believed this. They believed that they were at risk of survival. And so they came together and accepted the solution, not understanding fully what they were giving consent to.
And how many passed away as a result of the solution?
3/4 of the planet.
Mm.
Yeah, there's a lot of sadness about that.
And how does humanity cope with this? How did it begin to happen?
They were hijacked. Some of them did not even survive the merging, and so they would exit their bodies. Some of them became sick, and some of them were just overtaken over a period of time. So the human was no longer human. The consciousness was stolen, and it was a very difficult period because the consciousness was not allowed to exit the body as it would wish. And so think of it as a sealing off and a siphoning of a human consciousness. And so effectively, that human is trapped. They cannot exit the body and continue in the way that they would because they were effectively being trapped
And how were they allowed to do this?
by consent. The humans agreed. They were, they didn't understand, but they were lining up, so to speak.
Mm.
There were not nearly enough of those with awareness on the planet at the time. So this is why there are other timelines now that have opened up and been created as a result, so that the Earth can move along a different timeline. And so this is the reason why so many have chosen to incarnate onto certain timelines all at the same, uh, in the same lifetime, so that they can significantly alter the trajectory of the planet.
And how
Because
are
it
we
is never too
altering?
late.
That's okay. Keep going.
It's never too late to shift the trajectory.
And how are we shifting the trajectory at the moment?
On this timeline where you are communicating from, it is a very different path. And so this one is where there are more of us, more of you, with an awareness of what is happening. And so you've already altered the trajectory. You've already taken Earth on a very different path, not the same one from where I am speaking to you.
Mm.
And so you are working with other parts of yourself on other timelines. And this is why sometimes you simply know things that you maybe did not learn in this lifetime. You simply have awarenesses and information. You are being assisted. We are all working together. And so the timeline that you are on is a very different uh, type, and much change will occur on this timeline.
And are you privy to tell us a bit more about that?
Yes, it is to avert the catastrophes. You will still see many exiting as you have been seeing, and so there will be a significant shift in the population, but nowhere near what it could have been. And so the work that you are doing now, many of you are undergoing healings on yourself and learning to heal and help others to clear their energy fields, to connect them back in so that they can make conscious choices. Many of you are choosing to share information. Many of you are choosing to say no. You've already experienced this on your planet. Many of you stood your ground and said no. You are not buying into the solutions being provided. You are not buying into the story or the narrative. And so you've already significantly altered the future on this timeline, which is a wonderful thing. It is not without its challenge. You will still see and experience a great deal of chaos and significant change, but this is part of being able to shift the trajectory. There is a lot of structures that need to be removed and rebuilt.
And how do the controllers react on this particular timeline? The ones that won in the other timeline with what they did to humanity, the negative extraterrestrials and the AI. How do they deal in this timeline? Can you see that?
Yes, this is why they are focusing on those who are here to assist the timeline. So they are targeting those of you who are very much here to alter the trajectory because they understand what it is that you're doing here. They understand a great deal about this, often more than the individuals themselves. And so this is why it is very important to connect and to not doubt what you are here to do and why you are doing it, and that it is very real. The mission is very real. And so they are wanting to derail those light workers, timeline workers. They are wanting to distract them, keep them from creating, keep them from activating and assisting others, from doing their work. Yes.
And how can we prevail through all of this? How do you see them prevailing?
Understanding what it is that you are doing, and more of you will start to connect into your multidimensional selves. And so when you understand that there is a great bigger picture, you'll tap into this and it will give you a sense of connection and power and light because you are part of an expansive team working in all different dimensions, different timelines, and everything pieces together like pieces of a jigsaw puzzle. So timelines impact other timelines.
Mm.
They all create a bigger picture.
And this part of the timeline wars that I've heard sometimes about people talking about timeline wars. Is this what that is talking about?
Possibly, yes, because you will hear maybe these phrases. Some people have a remembrance of this area. And so, yes, there is this aspect, yes, to understand that timelines are all working together all at once. It is the same as if you are in this lifetime, if you isolate this one lifetime, you can heal yourself on different levels. You can heal childhood occurrences and earlier occurrences in this one lifetime. And so when you expand beyond this, you can start to see yourself in a more expansive capacity, and you can start to see yourself as being able to heal along other timelines, this lifetime, earlier lifetimes, later lifetimes, which are not really earlier or later, but this is a way to understand the meaning. But they are all happening all at once. And so you can heal across timelines. And this is why you are also seeing that some of the dark energies and infiltrations will come across also across the timelines. And so there will be an element of clearing anything that has moved across. You can do this in a very simple way, just simply with understanding that you can clear timelines as well as AI, for example.
Mm. And does she have any timelines that she needs to clear for herself?
Yes, it will be a good practice to ensure that you are clearing yourself daily of any interference or projections of anything negative or deceptive. And so, again, this is simple. It is just about understanding that it is necessary to do this from time to time.
Mm. And is there anything else that you can tell her about that, about the timelines?
Mm. The current timeline is a much more positive one than the one that you are looking at in this
Mm.
session. But it does not mean that it is without its challenge. And so, understanding that you have all the strength and fortitude and experience and training to be here on this timeline to really affect massive planetary change. And it is important to anchor that in a very real way, so that you do not feel that it is imaginary or an exaggeration or a figment of your imagination in any way. It is a very real aspect. And this will assist you. This will assist you in anchoring in very strongly. And she already has this resilience, great deal, because she is me, I am her. And underpinning everything is a great love for humanity more than anything, to assist.
What will the humans from this timeline in the future, what will they look like? What sort of promise do they hold if you were to condense time, go to a time far in the future? What do those humans look like?
They are still very human in their form. They they will be a more connected version, so much further along on the timeline that you're on. Uh, Again, it is a shifting. So the timeline is not set in concrete. There is a shifting and an option for many possibilities. But when you tap into the overall energy and the trajectory, there is a likelihood that this is where it is going. And so on that timeline, yes, the humans would be very connected. They would be very aware of themselves as being more than the physical. And so your practices will be much more loving and connected. The frequency, of course, will be much higher than it is. And as a result, your Your productions of everything will be healthier. It will be for longevity and true health. You will have many technologies to assist you. There will be use for AI, but it is not the current form. There is an AI that is of a higher consciousness, that is a beautiful assistance to humanity. And so you can have technological advancement with a divine connection. It is very different. So it is not that anything artificial is bad or good, but it is to do with the consciousness, the programming of it. And so as humanity's consciousness rises, it will be able to hold additional things, additional technologies, because it will be advanced enough to understand. And so there'll be a beautiful a rebirth, and there will be new art, new creations, new growth of food. Your food will be a very huge transformation. You are currently in a climate of eating products, processed, um, created products, which are not food sources. And so humans will want to delight in connecting back into their healthy, natural foods. And you will also see humans having much longer lifespans. Humans are capable of living far beyond current forms. You will see rapid healing and regeneration. Humans are capable of regenerating parts of their bodies. There will be a beautiful shift in the consciousness, the communities. Every community and country will be self-sufficient, and yet there will be a unity between the countries.
Will we get to see some of this in our lifetimes if we were to continue on this particular timeline?
Yes, many of you will start to see the shifts in this lifetime. Of course, it will continue far beyond, but you will definitely see a difference here. This is what you came to be a part of. And do not worry, because you can continue beyond this lifetime, participating in any way that you choose. And so if you want to see further ahead, and if you want to experience life on this planet at another point, you may do so. So you will see wonderful transformations. You will delight and rejoice, especially those of you who are here to assist the timeline. It's very beautiful things ahead.
And do we ever see or connect with our brothers and sisters from the stars?
Yes, yes, there will be a time where you will be able to be on this planet and be very connected. Also, it will not be looked at the way it is now, as if you are crazy or you are ill in some way. You are just pioneers right now of bringing in these connections. You are talking about connections to your star family in a time where many will think that you are crazy. But this is a very important piece, that you start to anchor these knowings into the planet. And so it is brave. It is brave and courageous for those of you who are here, being very open about this, because you are planting so many seeds for others to continue to grow. But you will also see a significant shift in this lifetime, on this timeline, with this being heard by more people, because the consciousness is shifting.
And is there anything else that you wish to say about this? Any other messages that you wish to give to her?
to take this opportunity to remind her when she listens to this back, that I am her and she is me, and I am here on this timeline doing the work that I am doing. I am a historian and a scientist, and I'm looking at what has occurred on the earth, and I'm helping to seed a different future here on this timeline. And you are over there on that timeline doing the work that you are doing. And so we can communicate with each other at any point. So to remember that you can communicate with the other aspects of yourself simply by choice, and then you can transfer information in this way. You can get insights into future developments, things that will help the planet. And yes, this is a very important thing for you to know and for you to remember. You can access multidimensional parts because they are part of your team, as well as your guides, as well as the other beings. Yes. Oh,
Beautiful.
oh yeah. They're showing. I'm just being showed the book, Dolores Cannon's book with Nostradamus. This is why I was very intrigued by this. And let's see, there's a reminder that she was talking to Nostradamus not as a spirit, but from another timeline, and this is how it works. So they're just reminding me that was the same thing as this. Okay, good.
See, it's very, very interesting.
Yeah.
And now I'm asking you to recede with much love and much thanks for all of the information that you have given us today. I'm asking for you to recede back into the time, space, reality, or dimension in which you belong with much love. And I would now like to ask for the consciousness of this one on the bed to reintegrate back into that body and into that space. I would like for this one's higher self to drop down into that space. May I speak with this one's higher self?
I am here.
You could have shown this one many lifetimes today. Why did you show them the lifetime or the timeline that they were shown?
This was important to anchor her into truly her multidimensional nature. And so by having this experience, she can really feel and know for herself that she exists in other timelines right now in this moment. And there is much strength, knowledge, and wisdom that can be tapped into. And so it is time for her to open herself up into this, not only for her own benefit, but also so that she can assist others to do exactly the same. And this will create an immense amount of power on the planet. And she will never doubt this. She will know firsthand, and she can feel the truth of herself as being very, very expansive, more than perhaps even she had realized.
That brings me to some of her questions about what type of timeline is she on currently?
Mm. One of great healing and impact. And so now she understands that the current timeline that she is on this planet is a very strong one. This is why when she sees a lot of dark in the world and people go into fear, she has an innate knowing within herself that this timeline is going to move into a better future. She has felt this very solidly over the last few years, but perhaps without understanding why. And so now she has had the connection to the other timeline. She understands why she knows this to be true, why she is 100% certain that this timeline has a very beneficial future for humanity. And so she is very much here on this particular one to assist with impacting the world in the way that she came to impact, to leave her contribution. And yes, this was very important for her. And so this is the timeline that she is on. And she has a lot more understanding now. And this will bring her a great sense of relief and knowing.
She was wondering, is it possible to jump timelines, and how does this work?
Mm. In the greater picture, you can jump timelines. And so this is really what you are all doing, because you are all existing on multiple trajectories and timelines. And so you are hopping all over the place, so to speak. You are existing here, you are existing on a timeline over there, another one over there. So parts of you are hopping and jumping across all multiple timelines. What you are doing whilst you are in this current one is being able to connect into other timelines. And in doing that, you can pull in uh, energetically first the information, the ideas, the visions. And as you pull them into this timeline, you can create them in this one. And so it is as if you are merging timelines and bringing aspects in that will benefit this one. Sometimes you may feel that you are on a completely different timeline. This is because you are shifting in the trajectory and you are shifting in your frequency. But you are really on the same timeline. So, this aspect of you that is listening to this right now is on a very specific timeline. But there are other parts of you that are on other timelines, yes. It is not always an easy thing to explain in human words because it is an energy, but this is the most straightforward way in explaining. Does this make sense?
Yes, that makes sense. Is that why when they talk about the practice of quantum jumping, where you can connect to another aspect of yourself that has maybe like more abundance or something, and then incorporate those aspects? How does that work? Can you explain a little bit more about that?
Yes, you can see it as borrowing skills and abilities. So you are going to collect different skills and abilities. You already possess them, but they are simply on another branch of your tree. And so all you are doing is you are taking a part of something over there that you know that will assist you over here. And because it is you, you can do this. You can take things. It is the same as taking an idea of something you thought about 10 years ago and remembering it and using it now. And so you can borrow bits, let's say, borrow bits of yourself from other incarnations, other timelines. And so this is why when you really desire something, and we say desire meaning fully from your self, your soul, your inner knowing, rather than from your head. But when you really feel that something is for you, you can simply allow it to come to you. You can bring it in. And so this is why it is very helpful. And this is why you have these impulses, because they already exist. So money is a very good example. Those of you who feel that you would like more money and you feel very resonant with having greater wealth, because many of you do feel this, we want you to know that this is because you are supposed to have this. It's not because you are coming from an ego place. That is a different energy altogether. But many of you have missions, big ones and impactful ones, that simply require resources, just simply seeing it as tools for the job. And so you simply need the tools to do the job. And so when you have this feeling that more money is needed, then that is because it is very important for you to receive. And so when you remember that there are other aspects of you that already have this, you can allow yourself to plug into that. So imagine plugging into a socket. And as you plug into that socket, you can feel what it would feel like to be in receipt of what it is that you're wanting and needing for your mission and your path. And you can effectively download it. This is how you work. You can download it from your own system. And so we encourage many of you to do this and to recognize that you have great abilities to pull things in. This is very different to building and working hard and, for example, on the subject of money, thinking you need 5 jobs. This is a very old paradigm way, but there are new other ways that you can now tap into whatever it is that you are needing for your mission. Yes.
Mm. Now we're able to, I've heard about using like water before to do quantum jumping. How does that work?
Yes, this is one that she uses herself. And so this is to do with aligning yourself with the choice in your trajectory. And many humans do not realize that they can position themselves on a track in a very specific way. It is not really any different to if you are walking down the street and walking to a familiar place. You know this route very well, you've done it many times, but nothing stops you from turning left and going around a different corner. It is simply a choice that you're making. And so, for example, getting in the shower, yes, this is a practice that she likes to play with. Getting into the shower and imagining that you are washing off anything that you no longer wish to align with. You reposition yourself by focusing your thoughts on the direction that you now wish to go. And you simply program and inform yourself that when you, for example, leave the shower, you will be stepping out now into a new trajectory, into a new frequency. And it really is fairly simple because then you can make choices and decisions from that place energetically. It is very simple practice, but what stops many humans is that one, they do not know that this type of thing exists, and two, they may not allow themselves to benefit because they do not believe that it is possible. And so there may be some work for some to do around the possibility and the beliefs part, but it is very doable,
Mm,
and you are choosing in every moment.
mm.
You can take a breath right now in this moment and choose to go into a slightly different direction. You're very, very powerful.
Does the water amplify that? Does that have like an amplifying quality? Is that why that is good to do it in water?
You can do it anywhere, but the water helps so many of you. Many of you really resonate with being in the water. And the reason for this is because it helps you feel lighter. Because the earth is so heavy and dense, and many of you feel this. When you are in water, you feel lighter. Many of you change your moods very quickly when you are in water. So, water is an amplifier, and it is a very good tool that you can use to lighten your energy field, to have very different focus thoughts, and to make very good decisions and choices. This is why many of you take showers and feel very inspired and creative during and after.
She was also wondering, are there alternate timelines for Earth's ascension? And can you explain how this works?
Hmm. Yes, and she has already seen this in her travel today, today's session, that there are many, many different um timelines, let us say versions of events. And so Earth has an evolution and a progression. And so as you know, that time is not linear. It is not one straightforward past, present, future. Time is more circular than this. And so when you understand this, hold this very lightly, you can understand that there have been many different versions, events, choices, and trajectories in Earth's history and future, past, present, future. And so this means that there are many, many different alternatives that have happened, are happening, and will happen. And so, yes, there are many different timelines, different experiences, different versions, different ways to experience. You can also, for example, have an experience on the same timeline, on the same version, but from another angle, playing another character. So there are infinite possibilities. Yes.
And what are the most important things for people to be working on or focusing on at the moment that will assist their ascension path?
So the first one we would say is to be aware of when they are in fear and when they are not, because the fear is the piece that will very easily pull someone into perhaps choices based on fear or disconnected ways of living and choosing. And so, one of the practices can be to recognize whether or not you are in fear. Sometimes fear is obvious, but sometimes it is a little more subtle. You may not realize that you are being in fear when really you are. And so you can check with yourself if you are feeling fearful or are you feeling in trust, one or the other. And you can adjust yourself accordingly and practice coming out of fear. The other aspect we would encourage humans to look at is their frequency. And so know that it is not about being in a high frequency at all times, because of course you are in a human body. You're also having your own personal experiences. But we share this with an encouragement for you to understand that your frequency is very important. Your frequency is where you are tuned into. And so one of the most important things that anyone can be doing on the planet right now is their own personal development, their own growth, their own healing, their own transformations. The inner work, really, is what we are saying is the most important. Um, yes, there are many other pieces on the planet. We know that your legal system, your politics system, educational, food systems, everything on the planet needs to be restructured and healed. But all of this is built on the foundations of your inner worlds. And so we would like to reiterate to those listening to encourage you to know that the most important thing is your own inner world, because everything you do in the world comes from your own frequency. And if everybody did this, the whole world would change. So do not underestimate the importance of this. And we would also say to bring in humor and laughter wherever you can, to lighten up when needed. We know that much of this talk is can be seen as very serious. We're speaking of timelines and trajectories and many things concerning Earth's past and future and humanity as a whole. But we, as Arcturians and angelic realm, we love to bring in the humor and the lightness, and we remind you that all is well. You are having an experience. And so, if you can remember in between your days that everything is okay, you are choosing to be here right now. You are choosing to learn and to experience and to grow. And everything is okay. And so, breathe into this remembrance and seek out humor and joy and laughter and play as often as you can. And so we would also suggest that you make this one of your priorities as well, so that you are not getting too serious and heavy about these things, because this energy is the highest frequency, yes. And so we also like to play with you and laugh with you and make light of things sometimes. And this is very important.
Speaking of which, are there any other aspects of her multidimensional self or other energies or guides in addition to the Arcturians or archangels that would be helpful for her to connect to at this time? Can you tell us more about that?
Yes, she was already previously connecting to the energy of money and wealth consciousness. This is an energy that she was channeling, and she has taken some time out from that. But we remind her that this is also an energy that she can channel for herself and to others. The reason being is that the energy of money and wealth and the consciousness, the higher frequency of this as an energy, is a relatively new energy for the planet. And so this is a very important one to connect to and to share with others. Because as you know, the subject of money, for example, can bring up a lot of triggering for people, um, a lot of responses and reactions, because money has been ingrained with such a low frequency and such an energy of control and greed. A lot of humans have been programmed out of abundance. So we know that the money, wealth, and abundance energy is an energy that she can uh, channel through, just as she channels us through. And so we remind her to connect back into this now. And so she can bring through messages for people in a more connected way. And also that she is here very much to connect into her other parts of herself on other timelines. She is a timeline worker, is another term that she may like, as well as light worker and starseed. She is a timeline shifter. And so she can, when she connects, as she now knows that she can do, is to call in and channel through another aspect of herself on any other timeline that she is on. And so she may have delightful conversations now, uh, many adventurous knowings, and she will also most likely use this as inspiration for many of her novels that she will be writing. She is here to bring in a large amount of books, and so she will very much enjoy this aspect. Yes.
And is there anything in terms of her daily or weekly practices that she's not doing or she needs to bring in to help her on her mission?
So she's already doing helpful things. She will find after today's clearing it is a lot easier now to get back on to daily practices. But two additional things from today's session that she can bring in is to clear the room, clear each room of the house on a regular basis. She will be guided with more information on how best to do this, depending on the energies, but to amplify now the protection around the house because of the energies that she is here to bring in. She will, of course, be um, on their radar, so to speak, on the Dark One's radar, which she understands. So to ensure that she is clearing the house very regularly will assist her. And the new practice that she has connected in today with connecting into her multidimensional parts and channeling herself. Yes, these two will amplify what she already does. Yes.
Mm, beautiful. So, is there anything else that she needs to be aware of that recent traumatic event that she experienced that will help her learn at a deeper level?
Yes. So this was a very important learning. So everything she experiences is very purposeful, and so sometimes she can go through a deep challenge simply as a way to learn in a very high level way. And so she can understand now that if she experiences anything of that nature again, so something that is perhaps a shock to the system that causes her to access a very low, heavy vibration, such as fear or despair or shock, she can understand that it is part of the occurrence, but it may be that something has opened to allow some energies to attach. So now she understands how this has happened. She can simply clear herself after any event. Um, that has happened. These types of events would be not so common, but she understands now what happens when they do. And so she will be able to clear herself now. She'll be aware of this, and she can do this as a practice. And to understand that, yes, there is more going on around her in terms of others and their contracts, and some things that need to be cleared around this. And so she has a lot more information now. Yes.
Okay. Because she was also wondering, was there anything she was she was curious, was there anything that she needs to be concerned about in regards to the Freemasons?
Mm. Yes, because these are is an example of organizations that are very connected in the very heavy energies, much of the dark energy. Many structures of this kind are, and so you will see this in many religious structures as well, many other types on your planet. And so it is to be aware that yes, this is a factor. And so because she also may feel that she draws in clients where this is relevant, she may find going forwards that there is a reason she is also learning this aspect and becoming accustomed to this. And so she'll be able to help anyone that comes into her path around even the structures around just showing me the Hollywood entertainment industries. They work in similar ways, these big structures. And so to know that, yes, as you spoke of, there are many contracts that have been put into place, and these contracts are very deceptive. So there are many people who have made covenants, contracts, and vows with certain organizations and systems where they did not realize what they were contracting to. Some of this, and much of this was hidden symbolically or simply hidden, or some level of trickery and deception was used. And so many can feel uh, the effects of these contracts, even though they have not consciously signed up. And so there is a need to clear themselves now, yes, of the contracts, covenants, vows that have been unknowingly entered into. Yes, and the word is unknowingly, because even though it was unknowingly, it still exists. But these can be cleared. These can be cleared very easily. But again, the aspect is understanding that they exist in the first place. And once you do, you also know how to clear these. So she has learnt a very valuable um, piece of information, and she will also have clarity now in what to do with certain ones that she is connected with, and she will have this as very valuable experience for in the future, because she will be working with many high profile individuals, and these will be those who are here in very high leadership positions and very impactful, influential positions, where many of these will be intertwined with contracts made knowingly and unknowingly, and they will want to free themselves of this. And some of these will be very frightening for them. And so she is very equipped to help people release, yes, covenants, contracts, vows, agreements. And we're smiling because she will find this amusing, because she was a lawyer in this life where she dealt with a lot of this. And so she is still dealing with contracts, and we are smiling because she understands that she is also doing this in the energetic sense. So we are having a play of words with her where she will find this amusing, that it is more now universal law that she is specializing in. Yes, to assist people.
Does she have any covenants, contracts, and vows with demonic energies or AI or anything like that that she needs burning up at this point in time?
These have all been cleared. There is one connection that she is still connected to, but this is related to someone else. And so she is holding this one to assist another. And so this will be cleared, yes. But right now there is just a connection there. There is a significance for this that she will understand when she hears this back. But this will be cleared when, yes, when a few other aspects have been cleared up. Yes.
Okay, beautiful. And is there anything else that she needs to know about that?
She already has everything she needs now. Yes, she has full understanding, and we will continue to uh, teach and share with her on this now that she has this awareness.
Beautiful. And she also wanted to know that once a person is free of all interfering energies and attachments, how can they prevent further things from entering their energy field?
This will be very different for different ones because, first of all, you are on a very dense, heavy planet. So sometimes it is just part of the weather, so to speak, to be in a climate where this is part of the experience. But you will find, many of you will find that as they undergo more healing and shifting of their frequency, it will be less and less common. So they will be able to get to a point where energies and attachments cannot simply come through because their energy fields are too strong. And when they do get in, they will detect them much more quickly. Um, but it is tricky at the moment because there are many things in a lot of things around you, because there are things that are in the air, for example, in certain products, foods, and you cannot eradicate all of them. And so this is okay. This is just where the planet is right now. But you will be able to lessen and lessen. And the most important thing is having an awareness of attachments and energies. You will start to be able to look after yourselves in a way that you can do regular clearings and know that you are clearing yourself so you will not be overloaded in this way.
Mm.
Yes.
And with all of the bombardment recently that's happening and all of the targeting, how do we, as practitioners, how do we level up?
Mm. Yes, again, it will be to do with frequency and awareness. First of all, we would say to not try hard, because as you try hard to keep everything out, you are in the energy of try hard. And so this isn't such a high frequency. And you will also find that you can get very exhausted. You will all feel at some point some level of burnout with having to firefight, so to speak. And so the way to power up and to step into your light is, we would say, gentle light practices. Because if each day you are connecting inwards, you are connecting upwards and into the planet, and you are connecting to yourselves with your higher self and your multidimensional aspects and your star families and your guides. And as you do this, the cumulative effect of this will grow and strengthen you. And so allow time for this development, because it is not an on off switch. And so even if you have had clearings and you feel very clear and wonderful, which is very, very powerful, uh, you may find that you will need a further clearing or some other aspect of needing to release. And this is all part of the ascension. So we encourage you to take the pressure off. We know that it is frustrating sometimes. You may feel that you're clearing and yet more is coming in. But each time you do this, you are learning something. You are learning something very valuable. And by continuously doing this, you will start to feel at some point clicking in, so to speak, where your frequency is higher than it was before. And so when your frequency is higher, you will start to rise above certain ones. So then you will find that certain energies cannot attach to you anymore because your frequency is higher. And you may certainly attract other ones where you have not yet reached a certain frequency. But in the same way, as you grow older and more wise, you grow in your frequency. So do not worry and do not fear, and know that you are strengthening and growing every moment. Yes.
Mm. And when we net the entities and remove them, where do they go? The ones that do not choose the light. We were just a bit curious as to what happens with that.
Mm. Um, what's just coming through just before we answer that one is just they were just showing me because we still they're saying that they know that we still want to power up. So they just showed me to imagine just a stream of golden light coming through, uh, imagining like it's a power jet. If we feel that we'd like that, to allow that to stream in above us and imagining that this light is streaming up through our hands. Our hands are very powerful, and so we sometimes forget about our hands. So we can power up by imagining a light source from each palm going up, connecting up, uh, and also connecting down into the planet, Mother Earth. And we can do the same with our crowns and almost and they're showing me that many of us might have seen this in characters or made up characters, but this is a very real energy. So it is just a suggestion that we can really feel that power if we breathe with it, and we'll feel it in our bodies and our energy systems, imagining that we have this energy charge going through our hands and through our crown, and we will really feel the difference. And we can blast that frequently whenever we want to blast, whenever we want a quick surge. This is, they're saying a little quick way of doing it. Yes.
Mm. Beautiful. And again, on that, when we net the entities and remove them, the ones that do not choose the light, where do they go?
So this will depend upon the type of energy and entity that is there. So some, once we remove them, we can, in connecting with them, because they are connecting with our energies. And so some then, after removal, will decide that they wish to connect and they wish to move on to the light. So even though you may not see it in the session, it may be that it occurs afterwards. So that is one possibility. Um, Another possibility is to simply release them back into their own energy field, because again, there is a free will occurring, and this is occurring for all beings. So it is a bit of a complex answer because it will depend on the energies, what they are doing in any given moment, and where we are able to intervene. Because there are sometimes we can intervene and remove a being, as you know, off the planet, and there are other times where we cannot interfere in that occurrence. So it is not a straightforward answer, but there are times when you request a removal of a certain energy off the planet. Yes, we can still do this. Um, but as you know, there are many, many different types, different connections, different aspects, and so we can remove aspects. Um, for example, yes, we could not remove all the dark energy off the planet, even though humans would perhaps want us to do this. The reason we cannot simply remove it all off the planet is because there is also a co-creation happening. There are many reasons for this dark presence on the earth. So if we removed the entire dark energy off the planet, we would be interfering in the whole planetary free will. So this is why there are lots of different ways. So yes, some dark energy is uh, simply removed from the field and they can continue as they are. Some of the energy will convert and want to go into the light. Some is simply taken off the earth plane, um, and they will then move into another realm, which is separate to the earth. And so all energy continues. Yes. So we hope that answers your question, but feel free to ask us any other question.
Mm. Where do the really, really big ones go? The really big entities that are really problematic. Where do those ones go?
When do you mean when you remove them from a person's energy field or off the planet?
When they're removed from the earth plane.
Ah,
Yes.
yes. So these yes, the ones you are speaking of, yes, they would be taken off the earth plane, and there is a space where they can be placed. It is, they're smiling because they're saying it's not a prison, but it is a place where they can be held. And there is an understanding because it is outside of time and space. So once they are outside of this physical realm, there is a different energy that occurs because they are no longer in the earth plane, the presence, because there is a certain frequency on earth. So when beings are outside of that, there is a very different understanding and energy. And so these beings can then decide whether they wish to continue on another timeline. Perhaps they will go and experience something else in another place. It is a continuation of the journey, so to speak. And so it is not it is not the same because it is a different energy when they are off planet. So there is a another time and space. Yes. It's difficult again to explain in human words because this is all outside of the physical reality.
Mm.
But there is love for all beings, even those ones, the huge ones that you speak of, that we would remove forcibly, so to speak, uh, but with much love and respect, because there is a lot more going on than what is clear. And also, to add to the complexity, you have many ones who are incarnating into different forms, playing different roles. And when they are outside and removed of the earth plane, they will then perhaps have a different perspective and they may then choose to have a different experience, go back and experience something else. And so it is very, very multifaceted.
Mm.
Yes.
Do some of these really, really big ones, do they have like a trial in front of like a soul council type of a thing where their actions are talked about and then they get to experience what that was like? Because some of them have done some very, very dark things.
Yes and no, because the way for the human mind to understand this it would be a very good analogy to have a trial and a council and an understanding, almost, yes, like a court trial. And so we say yes and no because it is not the energy of that. There is no judgment or putting any being on trial because once you are outside of the event itself, all beings understand. They are able to tap into an understanding of what happened, and they have access to all the perspectives, the timelines, and the experiences. And so we say yes in part because when a being has come out of one incarnation, and let's say that being has inflicted a lot of pain and suffering, when they come out of that, they will be able to see it from all angles. There will be much love and understanding because there will be simply an understanding of the experience itself. However, the being may well feel that they wish to balance out and experience other aspects. So, this is not punishment or anything of this nature, but we will use the word karmic balance to try and explain that there will be a simple, natural want to experience other angles. And so, for the sake of simplicity, if a being has inflicted much pain and suffering, it is most likely that the being will then want to experience another angle of this. It may want to experience how it feels to receive this. It may want to experience how it feels to look at this happening and turn the other way, or look at this happening and take action. There are many different angles, and so there will be a balancing. And so karma is just a balancing energy. But many humans use the word karma to mean punishment, but this is not an accurate depiction. So there is a what usually happens is each being will, as a soul, will desire experience, because every part of the universe is a part of source. And so source wants to experience itself in many capacities. And so there is a beautiful, huge orchestration of different aspects, all playing out. All of these aspects are part of the same whole, greater part. And so all of us are playing out things with each other, different aspects. And so yes, this is what it looks like. And so there is an examination of the experience rather than there being a trial, because this is not the energy. There is no judgment, but there is a feeling, and there are many feelings that will be felt and plans that will be made. Yes, yes.
And sometimes when these entities um are on the earth, some of these really dark ones, they're very, very angry. So when they get taken away, do they sort of change when they get taken to the other side?
Some of them will, because they are they are still the energy that they are, but they are not um, in the environment. So let's say when you drop a chemical into water, it will have a different reaction according to the environment it is in. And so when a being is in one environment, they will react a certain way. When you take that being out of that environment and it moves out of time and space, there will be a different energy, because it is no longer in that field. So there will be a shift in that, but the vibration of it will still be the vibration. So there will still be uh, a lower vibration, let's say, and a higher vibration. There is a sense of hierarchy. We will use the word hierarchy not in a human way, but there is an order to things outside of Earth. Not one being better than the other, but it is a recognized vibrational recognition. Yes, so there will be still a heavy vibration, a heavy density with certain beings, but it will not be manifest in the same way, because it is no longer in the physical. So it is a very different energy source, let's say. Again, it is difficult to put into human words because it is outside of time and space. So it is operating in a completely different frequency, but it is not the same. No, it is different. Same as each human in the human form. When your soul exits your human body, you no longer carry with you all the density of the human life. You are in a different form altogether. So there is a change, yes.
Mm.
Yes.
Okay. Is that why some demons and entities, when they are, I guess, arrive on the other side, they do seem like different in their beingness to when they were on the earth, very, very angry and wanting to attack?
Yes, and they may still have aspects of themselves that are in need of growth. They have not had certain experiences, so they vibrate at a certain level, but they will still be very different to how they are on the earth. Yes.
Mm,
Yes.
that's very interesting. Wonderful. And is there any guidance and suggestions around her book writing that will help her make the progress needed?
Yes, what she can do is she can tap into the other aspect of herself, higher self, which is very connected to the book writing part. So, how she has learned today how to access her multidimensional parts, she can simply call in the part of her that has written all of the books that she is here to bring through. And when she channels through that part of her and connects to that part of her, she can access information, energies, and codes that will activate her. And then she will be able to bring that part in and act from that place. Because at the moment she feels a little bit disconnected um, from this, and that is okay. She has been going through a lot of shifts and experiences, but this will help her uh, rapidly connect in. This is what she did with her first book. She just did not know she was doing it. It was not conscious because she wrote a very large book in a very short space of time, which defied logic. And so she can do this time, but do it consciously. Yes, deliberately.
Mm, wonderful. And could I ask you to just do a scan of this one's physical and energetic body and just to tell me if there are any entities or energies attached to them that we may have missed that should not be there, or is it all good?
It's all clear, all good.
Okay, wonderful. And is there any final message for this one?
Just be more multidimensional now, and she understands what this means. And she will have much more fun this way. She will find herself again tapping back into her magic, that feeling that she likes. She likes to feel magical and light, and that is where her power comes from. And so, yes, she has learned a great deal from today's session, and she will enjoy tapping back into this energy and enhancing it. And she will also enjoy teaching this now to others, bringing it in for others. And it will be very significant and very enjoyable. Yes.
Can I ask you to keep upgrading the body and continuing with any healing that may be needed by this one over the next 3 nights in their sleep states?
Yes.
And is there anything else, or are we complete for this session?
We are wonderfully complete.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for coming through today and conversing with me. Thank you for all of the help, healing, and wisdom that you've provided today.